All right, friends, Shabbat Shalom and Shabbos. It's, I heard it described as steamy out there. It is warm, but I do know that come September and October, when the temperature drops, everybody will be complaining, it's too cold. So I guess people just like to complain. I think in general, people just like to complain. And I mean, I'm part of that. I mean, you'll hear me complaining about the summer weather, and then when the winter comes, I won't complain. That's a nice thing. All right, Doc, would you like to bench lift? Okay, no worries. Lydia, please.
Yes.
Okay. See, I said please, and it worked.
Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Amen. Push forward. Pull the trigger. There you go.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu mitzvotav v'tzivanu ha'idlek ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Thank you. All right, let's continue on page 9. Page 9 with the responsive reading. There are days when we seek things for ourselves and measure failure by what we do not gain.
On Shabbat we seek not to acquire, but to share.
There are days when we exploit nature as if it were a horn of plenty that can never be exhausted.
On Shabbat we stand in wonder before the mystery of creation.
There are days when we act as if we cared nothing for the rights of others.
On Shabbat we remember that justice is our duty and good the world our whole.
So we embrace Shabbat, day of rest, day of wonder, day of peace. Let's jump ahead to Lecha Dodi, brought to us from the mystics in the Galil, in the mystical city of Sfat. They're the ones that give us mysticism the way we understand it. There was an earlier type of mysticism that's all but lost, but this is the mysticism that we know of the Kabbalah. Page 20 at the top. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nikabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad, Ishmi'anu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad u'shmaho echad, L'shem tiferet v'litila, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nikabela, Likrat Shabbat lechu v'necha, Ki mekor ha'bracha, Merosh mikedem nesucha, Sof ma'aseh b'machshava tchila, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nikabela, Mikdash melech Yemelucha, Umitzi mitoch hafecha, Rav lahach shevet b'yemecha bacha, V'hu yachamo l'aleichem la, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nikabela, Itnahari me'afar pumi, Lishi b'dei tifarteh chammi, Al yad ben Ishai beit halachmi, Korva el nafshi ge'ala, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nikabela, Hitorei, Ki va'orek kumi ori, shir daveri, Kevod Adonai alaych nigla, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nikabela, lo tevoshi, v'lo tikolmi, mahatish tochachi matehemi, bach yechesu, aniyeh yami, v'nihivneta iralti la, lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nikabela, V'hayu l'shimsa shohosaich, V'rahachaku kol melalayich, Yasis alayich Elohaich, Ki himsos hatan al kala, Lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nikabela, Yamin usmol tichotzi, V'et Adonai taharitzi, al yadish ben partzi, v'nismecha v'nagila, lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nikabela, Boi v'shalom materet bala, Gam b'simcha uv'sola, Tochem hunei am segula, Boi chala, Lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nikabela. Page 22, some verses from Psalm 92, the psalm designated for Shabbat. And let's read the jutted paragraph at the top in English. A song for Shabbat. It is good to praise Adonai, to sing hymns to your name, O Most High, to proclaim your steadfast love at daybreak, your faithfulness each night, with a 10-stringed harp, with voice and lyre together. You have gladdened me by your deeds, Adonai, for joy at your handiwork. How great are your works, Adonai, how very subtle your designs. A brute cannot know, a fool cannot understand this. Tzadik katamar yifrach, ke'erez balvano, Yiskeh shetuli b'beit Adonai b'chatzrot Eloheinu yahafrichu ojenu b'seva Yishayim v'ra'ananim yihiyu lehagi ki ashar Adonai tzuri v'lo avlatavo. Page 24, let's welcome the angels who come to visit us on Shabbat with the traditional words of greeting, Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barchuni l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seitchem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi melech malachei amlachim hakadosh baruch hu. We have welcomed the Shabbat, and the Shabbat bride is with us. We are on page 146. Let's everyone please rise for Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu et Adonai Amevorach. Baruch Adonai Amevorach. Leolam Vaed. You may be seated. Let's read together on 147 in English together. Adonai, your majesty is proclaimed by the marvels of earth and sky. Sun, moon, and stars testify to your power and wisdom. Day follows day in endless succession, and the years vanish, but your sovereignty endures. Though all things pass, let not your glory depart from us. Help us to become co-workers with you. Endow our fleeting days with abiding worth. Baruch atah Adonai, Ama'ariv Aravim. On 148 near the bottom, let's read responsibly. In each age we receive and transmit Torah. At each moment we are addressed by the world.
In each age we are challenged by our ancient teachings, and each moment we stand face to face with truth.
In each age we add our wisdom to that which has gone before. At each moment the knowing heart is filled with wonder.
In each age the children of Torah become its builders, and seek to set the world firm on the foundation of truth.
כי הם חיים וביורא כי ימינו, ובהם נגע יומם ולילה, ואהבתך תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם. בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוקבך ובקומך וקשרתם להיות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Page 151. Let's read responsibly. We worship the power that unites the universe, a promise of harmony for all. Before our eyes, there's a vision of perfection, order, and goodness. When will redemption come?
When we grant everyone what we claim for ourselves.
Long ago, we escaped the tyranny of Egypt. Our people saw the power of the Most High.
We learned God's presence redeems time and event, so we celebrate this power that makes for freedom.
Top of 152. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar ba'kodesh, nohura tehilot, ohu sefer malchutecha ra'u vanecha, bokeyam lifnei Moshe, zeili anu v'amru, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed, ונאמר כי יפקד אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל Yisrael. Top of 153, the first two lines of Hashkivenu. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom v'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom v'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Let's read together. Give us a place to rest, O God. Shelter us in the long, soft evening shadows of your truth. You are true protection and safety. In your presence we find love and acceptance. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, aporei sukat shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. Top of 154, Vishamru. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat, לדורותם ברית עולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. Please rise for the Amidah, pages 155 through 164. We'll chant the first three pages together, and then we'll go silent. And during that time, you can finish the Amidah in the Hebrew, the English translations, or offer up your own meditative prayer. We'll begin together on 155. Adonai sifatai titach, ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai sifatai titach, ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, El Hagadol, Agibor Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei HaKol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot Imaot, ומביא גואל לבני פניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם, לעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיים מתים אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיים מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומדומה לך, מלך מימין ומחייך ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני בחיי המתים. Let's continue, middle of page 160, and we'll read together. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may we all live in such a way that this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh ha-shabbat. Top of 163, let's read responsively. For the good in us which calls us to a better life, we give thanks.
The strength to improve the world with our hearts and our hands, we offer praise.
For the desire in us which leads us to work for peace, we are grateful.
For life and nature, harmony and beauty, the hope of tomorrow, all praise to the source of being.
We'll close out our Amidah on 164. Shalom Rav. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. V'tov be'einecha levarech et amcha Yisrael בכל עת ובכל שעה, בשלומך, שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. Praise you, Adonai, who blesses your people Israel with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamivorech et amo Yisrael, v'shalom. We jump to 253 in the middle, the Mishaberach, one of the many prayers for healing our tradition has. Middle of page 253. Mishaberach Avoteinu Mikor habracha Laimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishem Be'erach Imotenu Mikor habracha La'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. The prayers of our community, pages 258 and 259. Wait, how about the prayer for our congregation?
Source of all being, may the children of this community learn these passions from us. Love of Torah, devotion, and prayer in support of the needy. May we guide with integrity, and may our leadership be in your service. May those who teach and nourish us be blessed with satisfaction, and may we appreciate their time and their devotion. Bless us with the fruits of wisdom and understanding, and may our efforts bring fulfillment and joy.
Baruch atah Adonai, she'otecha levatcha b'yira na'avod. Mari for our country.
O guardian of life and liberty, may our nation always merit your protection. Teach us to give thanks for what we have by sharing it with those who are in need. Keep our eyes open to the wonders of creation and alert to the care of the earth. May we never be lazy in the work of peace. May we honor those who have died in defense of our ideals. Grant our leaders wisdom and forbearance. May they govern with justice and compassion. Help us all to appreciate one another and to respect the many ways that we may serve you. May our homes be safe from affliction and strife, and our country be sound in body and spirit.
Amen. Shalu Shalom Yerushalayim Yishlayu Avayich. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May those who love you prosper. Avinu Shabashamayim Sur Yisrael V'Golo. Barech et Medinat Yisrael. Reishit Tzmichat Geulatenu. Hagen Aleha B'Yefrat Chastecha. Ufros Aleha Sukat Shlomecha. Ushlach Orcha V'Amitecha L'Rasheha Sareha V'Yoetzeha. V'Taknein Be'etza Tova Milfanecha. V'Natata Shalom Ba'aretz. V'Simchat Olam Liyoshveha. V'Nomar Amen. O Heavenly One, Protector and Redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love, spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Amen. All right, friends, Shabbat Shalom and good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos.
This week's Parsha is Chukat. Comes from the word chok, and it is one of those crazy mitzvot, or the chukim, or those crazy mitzvot, that no matter how much we try to figure out a rational reason for them, we just can't come up with them. The laws of kashrut are amongst the most difficult of the chukim. We want to figure out, are they for health reasons? Is it because they didn't have refrigeration? Whatever. Yeah, a chok is something God says to do it, and we do it. It doesn't have to make sense. We have another one of the chukim this week, the ritual of the red heifer. Somebody comes into contact with a corpse, and they are ritually impure. So unlike most ritual impurity, you go to the mikveh and you're okay. In this case, you can't just go to the mikveh because touching a corpse imparts a specific kind of ritual impurity upon you, and you got to get rid of it. And so you take a red heifer, one that is completely red. I think it could have up to 2 black hairs. There's some guy in Texas who's always trying to breed the red heifer, and he announces it. Oh, I got a red heifer. He's not a Jew. He gets a red heifer, and then the moment he announces it, they find 4 black hairs, and it disqualifies the red heifer. So, but it can have 2 black hairs. It could not have a yoke placed upon it. It could not have ever been worked in the field, and it should have no blemish. That animal is slaughtered. It's burnt on the altar. Its ashes are swept up, put into a container of water. And when you come in contact with the corpse, you get sprinkled with that water. And that is the first step in becoming ritually pure. And then you go to the mikveh. So the ashes in the water makes you technically ritually pure. And the person who's sprinkling you with the ashes becomes ritually impure and has to go to the mikveh. So that is the chief way of looking at a chok. Right? It does one thing but causes something else, and there's no rational explanation for it. So that's the chok that's in this week's Torah portion. Miriam dies at Kadesh, and she's buried, and everything falls apart after that for Moses and Aharon. Miriam, although a major force in the Torah and a major force in Moshe's life, doesn't really get the credit that she deserves. A well of water followed the tribes as they wandered while Miriam was alive, and she was Moshe's confidant. Right? She was his older sister, and she kind of watched out for the baby brother. So she's buried, the well dries up, and there's no water. And imagine what happens. The people complain. Right? Moshe has just lost his sister, and the people start complaining because there's no water. Well, he and Aharon get angry, and they go to God, and God says to them, "Go and speak to the rock." Moshe calls the people together, calls them Miraim, he calls them rebels, gets angry with them. He just kind of flies off the handle. And instead of speaking to the rock, he strikes it. Of course, water comes forth. And one of the lines from Moshe is speaking for his brother, "Shall we bring water for you?" Well, kid, it wasn't you bringing the water. And it wasn't for you to take credit. And so God tells them that because of their anger, they're not going to get into Eretz Yisrael. Right, so Miriam has died. Aharon will die shortly after this and be buried at Mount Hor. Eleazar becomes the high priest, and the people mourn for 30 days. But they're denied entrance into the promised land. And there's going to be a lot of ink spilled about this, and we could talk about it after services or tomorrow. Moshe was never going to get into the promised land. He's too old. He's too old to lead the new generation. He would have been with them over 40 years, and 2 whole generations have grown up, born in the desert, and he will not be able to lead them. And I don't care if it was he didn't speak to the rock. I don't care if he tied his shoelaces the wrong way. I don't care what it was. He was never going to get into the promised land because he's too old. And neither is Aharon and neither is Miriam. They cannot be the leaders. And they'll want to be the leaders. And the people will want them to be the leaders. But that would be a recipe for failure. People need to step aside when it's time. Moshe doesn't want to step aside. He's not in bad shape, but he needs to step aside because the two generations that were born in the desert, they don't speak his language, and he doesn't speak theirs. So this is this is one of the sadder parshiot. Again, after the done mourning Aharon, the Canaanites attack, and they're not successful. They're beaten back. And then again, the people start to complain, and it's the same old song and dance. They didn't like the food. There's not enough food. They don't have enough water. They want the water. And God has really had it up to, if God had a neck, it would be up to the top of God's neck of the children of Israel complaining. So God sends serpents, and they bite the people who are disloyal. Again, last week we had this great miracle where the people who were malcontents were swallowed up by the earth. Why doesn't that happen nowadays? Right? And then this time you have serpents crawling around, biting people who are disloyal and causing trouble. And so where are those serpents, right? But Moshe begs forgiveness for the people. He goes to bat for them. He's commanded to make a copper seraph. And this is an idea, a copper snake. And he puts it on a pole, and the people who look upon it are healed. The Amorites, King Bashan and Og, attack, and Bnei Yisrael is victorious, and they acquire a large territory after beating these two kings. And so, it's not all bad news, but there is some good news, and that's your Torah portion in a nutshell. There were 3 mitzvot, and all of them were positive. So that's your Torah portion in a nutshell. So today's Friday. Wednesday was my dad's birthday. Yesterday was my mom's birthday. And I was lamenting to my mom on the phone yesterday. I've realized that I became that old man who sits on the front porch shaking his fist at the world. I didn't think I would be 57 when 56, when I reached that point. But one of the things is that I realized, and it was just because I was thinking about my dad on Wednesday and talking to my mom yesterday, that one of my biggest disappointments in my life is that I spent much of my youth learning how to behave, to learn how to become an adult. I grew up surrounded by serious people. And when I say serious, I'm not saying that they didn't know how to laugh or they didn't know how to tell a joke, but there were a number of World War I veterans who were in the neighborhood, and I knew them. I had an uncle who was, as he put it, a guest of the Japanese during the war in one of their prisoner of war camps. And so, he saw a lot. The men who fought in World War I saw a lot. Both of my grandmothers endured the Great Depression. And so there were people who were serious, didn't take life lightly, and they wanted to instill in me and my brother a sense that we are to respect people, not just older people, but people whose experiences are different. Now that I'm an adult, at least age-wise, I'm an adult, I'm wondering what happened. Where have all the adults gone? Right? We live in a world that is controlled by, adults who act like children, or children who act like adults. And that's not a good thing. But where have all the adults gone? Right? I've been looking and watching, and I blame my generation for a lot of it, because we had parents who were strict. My dad was strict, my mom was strict. It didn't mean that they didn't love us, but we were the children. just a step above the dog, right, in terms of the pack, right? Although the dog thought we were below her because, we were the little kids running around and the adults were the ones that fed her, right? So, but the idea is that children were children. We were allowed to play. We did a lot of things. But, when Mr. Hornberger walked down the street, you didn't call him Harold. You didn't go, hey, old man. You kind of snapped to attention and called him sir and asked him how he was doing. All right, my grandmothers were the same. They were strict. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for my grandmothers. But the point is that there were adults in the room looking out for us, teaching us, proper behavior. And now my generation wanted to be friends with their children. And you can't be friends with your children when they're children. You're supposed to be teaching them. You're supposed to be instilling them values. You got to get them to adulthood. Then you can be friends with them. But when they're 5, 6, 7, and 8, it doesn't work. So I guess that every generation thinks that the generations that come after it behave poorly. And I remember hearing, when I was your age, right? And then it was, yes, I walked to school barefoot uphill both ways in August in the snow, right? We didn't have indoor plumbing. It was the outhouse, and the outhouse was 3 counties away, and the seat was never warm, and there was never, the Sears catalog was gone by the time I got there, right? Every generation feels that the next upcoming generations, are a little bit less. I don't know. I mean, I'm the beginning of Generation X. Y, Z, the millennials, whatever comes after the millennials. I don't know. They're different. But, if you say to a young person nowadays, now I'm not saying the 20-somethings, I'm talking about teenagers and younger. If you tell them about what it was like when you were growing up, they roll their eyes. What do you mean? You always had the internet. No, we didn't always have the internet. Oh, you always had streaming. No, we didn't always have streaming. In fact, I was the remote control. Dad would say, change the channel, and I would get up and I would twist the knob and change the channel. TV stations went off at midnight, and there was no MTV. Right? So I'm reading in the papers recently that a governor in Louisiana has an idea on how to get the kids up to speed, how to teach them morality, right? Put the 10 Commandments in every school, and that will teach the kids, and that will help them grow up to be moral. A lot of problems with that. One is, what version of the 10 Commandments are you going to use? In the Torah, there are 2. In the order is different. Are you going to use the Roman Catholic version, or are you going to use the Protestant version? And if you're going to use a translation, are you going to use a correct translation? Or are you going to use the nonsense that says, do not kill, when the command is do not murder? There's a difference. And are you going to put them in Hebrew? Or are you going to put them in Greek? You're going to put them in Latin. Each language is one step removed from the original Hebrew. And I'll tell you what, it's going to fail. It won't work. Because it'll become an eyesore to the kids. The kids will ignore it after the first 3 or 4 times they see it, and it's not going to change their behavior. It will not work. Nothing like that will work. What the kids need, what the young people need, what the world needs are role models. People who exhibit the behavior that they want others to exhibit themselves. And when I was growing up, we had that in spades. We had men and women who fought in World War I and World War II. They knew suffering. They knew horror. And they wanted to protect us from it and get us ready to become adults. And believe me, some of the lessons were harsh. But nowadays, young people, oh, there's a sense of entitlement. You can't tell me what to do. You can't limit my TV or internet time, my screen time. You can't. And you know what? Adults are as bad as the kids. I don't know how many times I've sat at a meeting or I've sat in a restaurant watching, and everybody's playing with their phone or their iPad. Families sit together at a dinner table in a restaurant and everybody's on their phone. That's not dinner. When I was growing up, there was no TV at dinner. That's how far I go back. Maybe some of you go back that there was no radio and some of you might go, there was no dinner. I mean, you were just on your own, right? But the point is that when we were at a table, we sat and we talked and we listened to each other. Ultimately, I realized when I got to college, that's when all the rules changed. Everybody got a TV in their room, and I never had a TV in my room. I guess they just, didn't like me, my parents. But that's okay. That's okay. The idea is that we don't communicate, and the adults do not exhibit the behavior that they want the kids to have, but they expect the kids to have the behavior. So where are they going to learn it? TV? I don't think so. The internet? God forbid. Right? What do we do? What do we do? Now, I'm not saying that the men and the women that were the older generation when I was growing up were perfect. They made mistakes. And I don't whitewash their mistakes. But the good they did outweighs the mistakes they might have made. And they taught and they took seriously preparing the next generation for adulthood. I could only imagine if a number of the people that were in my neighborhood were alive today and they found 40-year-olds living at home with their parents. I mean, I think they would show up with a baseball bat and club the parents and then get the kid out of the house. And it's not that there aren't exceptions. It's just that the idea is that, well, I can go home and live with my folks. You're 75. I can go home and live with my folks. Right? The idea is we're the adults. Where are the adults? Saying that politics and religion, send the kids to shul, get them to Sunday school. Okay. Most kids in Sunday school or Hebrew school quit after they become bar bat mitzvah. Do you know why? Because they can. Why? Your parents say, oh, I can't wait till you're done with this, and then you don't have to go back. And then the kid grows up and comes home, and he's going to marry little sister Marie McGillicuddy. And the parents clutch their pearls and say, oh, but why isn't he marrying Shana Madel? Why isn't he marrying a nice Jewish girl? Well, folks, you made so much fun of the religion. You said you were so tired of it that they listen to you, and they don't want to have anything to do with it either. Politics is the same. I mean, amazingly, the guy that wants to put the Ten Commandments up on all the walls in the schools in Los Angeles, Louisiana, he's not checked out recently all of the people in politics that have violated more than one of those commandments. We have people in Washington that have violated all of them, including the ones that say do not murder. We have candidates who are running around who have violated at least 9 of them, maybe 8. I don't know how many idolaters there are, but at least 8. And yet, politics, religion, those are we're supposed to learn from. We don't learn from them. It's not compelling to these generations. They have all watched us critique and ridicule the things that we tell them they have to take seriously. But we need to exhibit the behavior we want to see them exhibit. It's going to be tough. because we've got a handful of generations that are running roughshod. Or we could just ignore it, put our heads in the sand and say, look, I'm only going to be here another 40 or 50 years. What harm can they do? I'll just bury my head in the sand. Or like me, sit on my front porch and shake my fist at them. Because if we're not being the role models to them, the generations that they bring into the world, are they going to be serious role models? Are they going to be the adults in the room? Teach your children well was a famous song, right? That comes out of rabbinic teachings. That wasn't just created by a group. Teach your children well, according to the rabbis, means emulate the behavior that you want them to emulate. Be role models. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to kick back and not be serious. But when it comes to teaching our children well, the stakes are much too high for us to just sit on the porch and shake our fists or shake our heads or bury our heads in the sand. We need to do something. They need to do something. We need role models. We should be the change that we want to affect in the world. It won't be easy, but that's the only way. And you know what? If we take it seriously, it will work. Shabbat Shalom and Good Shabbos. Maury, Kiddush time. It is time for Kiddush. Thank God for Maury. If it weren't for him, I would forget Kiddush. Vayihi erevai voger yom hashishi, vayachulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzivam, vayachal Elohim bayom hashvi melachto asher asa, vayishbot bayom hashvi mikol melachto asher asa, vayavarech Elohim et yom hashvi, vayikadesh oto kivo Shabbat mikol melachto asher bara Elohim la'aso. Sabri. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam asher kiddeshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho V'ahava u'ratzon in chilanu zikaron le'maaseh bereshit ki hu yom techila la'mikra'ei kodesh zecher letziat mitzrayim ki banu bacharta v'otanu kidashta Mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha v'ahava uvratzon inchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. Please remain standing. Page 282. Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol latei kedula liotzer breishi shelo asanu kagoye haratzot Elohu samanu kamishpachot adama shelo sam chelkeinu kahem V'gor aleinu kechol hamonam va'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu shehu notei shamayim v'yoser haaretz u'moshe b'karo b'shamayim b'mal Ushrinatu zo ושכינתו בגובה מרומי, ואלוהינו מהוד, אמת מלכנו אפסולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום להשבותה אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים, בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת עינו. ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר למלך כל הארץ, ביום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד. ושמו echad. You may be seated. We continue observing Shloshim for Rabbi David Butcher, Roger Evans, and Gregory Galpern. This week we observed the following yahrzeits: Janie Sampson Breskin, Fred Ziffer's relative; Jean W. Gallen, Ed's mother; Ian S. Miller, relative of Tony Schoenfeld Miller; Samuel Schiff, Mary Cantor's father; Rena Stern's grandfather; Shai Selleck, Maxine Yeager's nephew; Helen White, relative of Valerie; Sarah Gersman, Jack Steinberg's grandmother; Mike Shrinsky, Sherry Solochek's uncle; Jerome Cohen, Barbara Silverstein's father; Bill Hager, former son-in-law of Dennis and Ina Hamill; Saul Macinter, Gazella's husband; Ida Kaplan, Etta Steinberg's aunt; Albert Finkelstein, related to Mimi Tan; Martin Carnes, Joanne Gellen's father; Maury Ritter, David's brother, Charles's son; Jack Steinberg, Etta's husband, stepfather of Mark, Brian, Paul, Mark, and Adam; Rose Chertow, Bruce's mother; Pearl Schoenfeld Lewis; Shai Selleck, Maxine's nephew; Reva Jean Smith Meadows, oldest daughter of Orrin and Imogene Smith, and sister of James Morris Smith; Gail Wise, sister of Bernice Stern; Alfred Greenstein, Miriam's husband, Murray's father; Judith Ann Jeffers Smith, wife of Larry Orrin Smith, and sister-in-law of James Morris Smith; Louis Lerner, Ike's father, grandfather of Judy, Bob, and Jan; Mayor Slifkin, Nancy, Sheriff Billig's father. May their souls be bound up in the bond of life eternal. May the memories be a blessing to us always, and may they all rest in peace. Mourner's Kaddish is found on page 294. Yit Kadal, Yit Kadash, Shemei Rabbah. The Alma Divrach Hirutei, Yamlik Malchutei, Bechayechon, Uliomechon, Ufchaye, Dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala, Vizman, Karim, V'yimru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevorach, Rolam, Olamei Almaya. Yitbarach, Yishtabach, Yitbar, Yitramam, Yitnaseh. V'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shmei kudsha, brichu. Le'elam min kol birchata b'shirata, tushbachata b'nechamata, da'amira, elma v'yimru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'yimru, amen. Oseh shalom bin Ramav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu v'al Kol Yisrael, v'yimru, Amen. You may be seated. Shabbat Shalom, everyone, and good Shabbos. Okay, one more time. Let's try to get this together now. Shabbat Shalom and good Shabbos, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom and good Shabbos.
There we go. Mr. Hornberger's name wasn't Harold. I don't know why I thought it was Harold. His name was Grant Hornberger. Grant Hornberger. Before we get to the announcements, it is birthday and anniversary Shabbat, and we have birthdays in July for Susie Brodoff, Stacy M. Solachek Beckman, Dr. William E. Bloch, Jared Kolker, and Rose Marie Ritter. Happy birthday, Rose, although it's towards the end of the month for Rose. And July anniversaries, the Neufelds, Jessica Pressman and Jay Fox. And, oh, look at this, on the 29th of July, number 24 for, I don't know, now Hoyt and Melanie. Yes, at the end of the month, but since we're here already, well, come up, we have a gift, and although you have two wonderful children, what more gift?
Right.
What could I add to the gift that you already have?
I remember 25 years ago when I can't remember the congregation said it wouldn't last.
Oh,
The congregation.
Yeah,
which congregation?
this congregation,
No, it wasn't.
Oh, see, Melanie?
one person.
Just listen to Melanie. Just listen to
She
Melanie.
doesn't like it when I bring that up.
So we have a Mishaberak, but we also have a Hershey's bar. Notice full size, not one of these little tiny bite size ones. No. These are the full size, and for one and for you. And we have a special Mishaberak, a blessing. Mishaberak Abateinu Abraham Yitzhak Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel V'Leo Hu Yivarech Et Kulam V'Avor Shabau Hayom Lehodot L'Shem Kodsho Al Kol Chasadim Asher Gamal Lehem Miyom Chatunatam Umiyom Simchat Libam Ad Hayom Hazeh HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yishmoreim V'Yatzilei Mikol Tzara U'Tzukah V'Mikol Nega U'Machala V'Yishlach Bracha V'Hatzlacha B'Kol Ma'aseh Yadehem In Kol Yisraeleihem V'Nomar Amen. The God who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless Hoyt and Melanie, who are here today with gratitude for all the blessing their years together have afforded them. May the Kadosh Baruch Hu protect and deliver them. May they continue to enjoy God's blessings in the new song of their years to come, so that they may always live in joy and gladness, in peace and companionship. And let us all say, Amen. Let me give the important one, the first hug.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you.
Well done to you.
Thank you.
24.
24, yeah, it's surprising.
No, and now we're gonna have some announcements. Yes, it's surprising that she hasn't clubbed you.
I know. She has a lot of patience. You know,
Yes, she does.
I really appreciate your talk tonight. I was thinking about how much things have changed in just the last 25 years. We're binging The Sopranos now. I realized you couldn't make that TV show now because everybody would be at the dinner table on their phones. I mean, they had conversation. You can't do that now. We do that.
It'll be much easier to whack a person.
It
They're not
would
paying
be.
attention.
Yeah, it would
There
be.
you go.
You just text. Well, Shabbat Shalom and good Shabbos, everybody. Few announcements. Tomorrow we've got service at 10. Then we've got service on Sunday at 9. Stay with the rabbi at 1 and 2. No?
Canceled because there's
Because
something else is going on.
that's right. I knew that. But why did I say that?
I don't know.
Because I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
So, it's true. 2 out of 3 converts believe that. So anyway, polling by Donald Trump. So I couldn't resist. You inspired me today. Martha Newby, our beloved Martha Newby will be here. I don't think she's expecting it, so let's turn out for her today, or Sunday, or whenever it's going to be. Sunday at 3 p.m. Is that correct?
1 to 3.
1 to 3. 1 to 3. Thank you, Judy. Thank you. I'll try. It's all the drugs. So anyway, we'll see you there. And I don't think we have.
I don't know.
I don't think we are.
And anyone who'd like to come and help set up tomorrow is welcome to come.
At 2 o'clock.
At 2 o'clock. Very good. I want to give a shout out to Seth, who I know is watching. He loves my announcements. It amuses him. So, I love you, Seth. And thank you for picking up those 50-pound bags today for me.
So much for Shabbat.
So much for Shabbat.
All right, we will close out with Adon Olam. 321. Adon olam asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra li'et nasa b'chefso kol azai melech shemo nikra v'yacharei yiklot hakol levado yimloch nora v'hu haya v'hu hoveh Vehu yeh b'tifara, vehu echad v'ein sheni. Laham shelo lahachbira, b'li reshit, b'li tachlit, v'lo ha'oz v'hamisra, vehu eli, v'chai goli, v'tzor chevli b'yeh tzara, vehu nisi humanosli, Menat kosi biomekra biahado avkid ruchi bi'etishan biahira bim ruchi giviati Adonai li velo ira. Let's see who is observing Shabbat today and sending us Shabbat greetings. There's Mom. Yep. Shabbat Shalom to all from Rabbi's Mom and Cliff from hot and humid Pennsylvania. Stay safe and cool. Thanks, Mom and Cliff. Donna Wilson, Shabbat Shalom to all. Looks like a beautiful evening. I hope so. And there is Mom again. Great message, except we did love you, even though you did not have a TV in your room. Well, I don't get anything that I want. On Shabbat, it's Shabbat, go out, be restful, go for a walk, spend time with family tomorrow, off the machines, out of the cars, just enjoy your Shabbat. I want to wish everybody a Shabbat Shalom, a good Shabbos, and please, please be careful out there. Okay.